Hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever you're looking at, whatever you're doing. 2-1 Bushcron Blitz. Would you believe the morning I've had? I did 2 videos today already. I did this video and I did another video on the KV2. I then realised that I had my mic muted on both after I'd exported and uploaded them to YouTube. And when I went to listen back to them to quality check and assure myself that they were okay, there was nothing there but static and dead air. Which is probably pretty good for a lot of you who think I'm a numpty anyway, but for me, it was less enthusiastic, my response to that. Anyway, here we are. These are my favourite tanks videos, and we're doing it again, so second time's a charm. I'm here to talk about the VK2801. One of the reasons I'm doing these videos is because a lot of people have always asked me what my favourite tanks are, which is important. I mean, people want to know what my favourite tank is at different tiers because, you know, they just do. There's no accounting for taste. So I also want to point out, though, that these videos are great if you are looking at tanks that you might like to actually spend your important spare parts on, or might want to grind spare parts on. And this tank is one of them. Not only is it a mountain goat like you saw there, it is also just an absolute freaking machine when it comes to going fast. So these are all tanks that I would grind spare parts for and keep and play again and again and again, that I'm featuring in these videos 6 through 10. The ones from tier 1 to 5 are great. There are various things, and I did a very dry video on those, featuring them all in about 35 minutes, and I put that up recently, and if you got through that without falling asleep, congratulations. I am the cure for insomnia that the world has been searching for. This tank is special. It is absolutely special. And I've done a lot of videos on it. And you know I've done a lot of videos on it if you've been sticking around for a while. Because I think it's my favourite tank in the game. And there's a few caveats with that, obviously. And there's a few things that have happened recently that make me consider that maybe there are other contenders. But it's got so much going for it. If you were an artist and you had to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, would you want a wide paintbrush that you used to paint the house, or would you want a fine bristled paintbrush, you know, from whatever they make good paintbrushes from? I'm not saying that I'm Michelangelo, but I'm saying if you want a good tool for the job, this is the best tool for the job. It will give you the full scope to use whatever abilities you have honed over your thousands of Blitz games. If you have an idea, you can put it into play with this tank. You can be sneaky, you can go wide, and that T21 can think, hey, that VK28 is going wide, but you're really, really quick, so you'll go up behind him, so when he comes around that corner looking to see where that other tank is, bang, you're right there behind him, because the tank moves like greased lightning. It's sneaky, 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 and it's tough as nails. It's as tough as the hammer on the hammer and sickle. It is really nasty. What's it got going for it that you don't know about? Well, that's why I'm here to give you a little hand. If you haven't been to blitzstars.com, Sock Robber, my good mate Sock Robber, he has a tank compare thing there which you need to look at, and it's going to unearth a few dirty little secrets about tanks that you may well not know. Now, I'm going to compare this tank to its other tier 6 light tanks, the T37, the T21 and the MT25, and just give you a little heads up on why it is so ridiculously good. It is the fastest tank in the game as far as I'm concerned. It might not have the highest top end speed, but I've run racetracks with a lot of patrons, and I did a video on it where the fastest tank in Blitz, and this thing kept coming first or second the whole bloody time, because it doesn't bleed speed in turns. It does slide out a little bit, but not a whole lot. And its acceleration is phenomenal. It's got fantastic sneaky stuff going on as well. The coefficients that you can't see behind the scenes that really make up the numbers for this thing are just crazy. It's also got the best shell velocity money can buy. Shell velocity is really important because what happens with shell velocity is when you fire the gun, the game takes X amount of time to get from A to B with your shell. If you're firing the gun on the T37, for instance, which is a really good shell velocity tank, you're getting the bullet there at 975 meters per second. The T21, the other tier 6 American light, does it at 792, which is terrible. The MT25 will get it there at 917 meters per second, which is really good. The VK2801 I'll give you another example. Everyone knows the RU251 has quite a slow shell velocity. It's at 805. So that gives you an idea. On 975 and 917 are good numbers. The VK2801 shell velocity is 1170 meters per second. That is ridiculous. Its shell velocity is crazy, and it's got better penetration by a country mile than the other Tier 6 lights. It's got 157 millimeters of pen on its AP rounds. The T37, for instance, has 135, and that's the second best Tier 6 light. And you're getting me, the gun is spectacular. And that doesn't even take into account the dispersion, which is 0.308, which is freaking good, right? It's really, really good. It's got 9 degrees of gun depression as well, just in case you were wondering, which is lovely to have. It's got a 72 km/h top speed with a 715 horsepower engine. Your T37, T21 and MT25, none of them get over 660, which is the MT25. Yet it weighs in at just a measly 23.14 tons. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, because it's got such a great horsepower power to weight ratio, it's got 30.9 as a power to weight ratio. The T37 is 23, the T21 is 27, and the MT25 is 26.39. It also has brilliant terrain resistance stats. Now that means when the tank tries to do anything in the game, you have 3 types of terrain: soft, hard, and medium. The lower the number, the better. The best soft terrain resistance stat is the MT25 at 0.7, followed by the T37 and the VK at 0.8. The best medium resistance stat, again, is the MT25 at 0.8, which is really, really good, followed by the T37 and the VK2801 at 0.9. The T21 is worse on all 3 by major numbers. Then you get the hard terrain resistance, like hard ground, which is an awful lot of the map, and that's 1.6 on the MT25, 1.7 on the T21, 1.5 on the T37, and 1.1 on the VK28. So you can see you go through the terrain and you're dealing with a tank that is just absolutely glorious at those things. And it's one of the reasons why the RU251 is 1.3 and the same other numbers on the terrain resistance mods as the VK2801, but it's 1.3 on its hard as the VK's 1.1. And it also, it doesn't have as good a power to weight ratio as the VK2801. That's why the VK just hugs the ground too. It doesn't seem to slide as much on the hard stuff. So it's bloody brilliant at holding its speed and accelerating. It's got better power to weight ratio than most tanks, and it's got incredible gun handling. So I also didn't mention with the gun handling, the on-the-move rotation, it's got the best on-the-move rotation number. This is another hidden stat that you'll need to go to Tank Compare to have a look at. It's 0.11 versus the 0.12 for the T37, T21, and the 0.16 of the MT25. So not only does it have the best dispersion, it's got the best on-the-move numbers. So when you're firing on the move, the shells go faster, they penetrate better, and they are more likely to hit the target. And your aim time is lovely as well, 1.9 seconds, which isn't really good actually. It's not one of the best aim times for a tank, but because your coefficient's good and your penetration numbers are good and your base dispersion are good, it's excellent at on-the-move firing. Your rate of fire is fine. All those things are great. Now, let me tell you some other stuff that is really, really cool about this tank. It's got just fantastic gun handling. You've seen some of those things going on there, but it's also got brilliant armor. It's got a very, very heavily sloped upper plate that will bounce an awful lot of shots once you start angling it correctly, which is all well and good. I mean, it's exactly what you're after. And it's got light tank camo. So when you're flying around the map, your camouflage is huge. And with 3.8 and the synergy of camouflage net and binoculars disappearing, and everyone running optics, you're going to be spotted a lot less than you were previously. It's just a fact of life. And that's great for a tank that was already doing well. It's only going to do better. And the gun penetration numbers are important because Pramo now does less damage. So it's all well and good to say, well, yeah, but the other tanks can just switch to Pramo, and they can. But now with less damage, it's more important to be able to penetrate on that first shot. And I run calibrated shells with this so that I get 165mm a pen on my AP. And I also run the supercharge on this because my gun handling's pretty good already. And supercharging it just accentuates my biggest advantage, which is shell velocity. So instead of running around with a shell velocity that was already off the charts better than anyone else had, even if they run supercharge, I then get to put another 10% on top of that, and I end up with 1,287 meters per second of shell velocity, nearly 1,300 meters per second of shell velocity, which means you are hitting stuff like a laser beam. You point, you click, it goes exactly where you pointed it. So look at the gun handling on this. I'm constantly moving, and the gun is always moving, and the reticle is tiny, and the shell velocity is just instant. It's instant. I run vertical stabilizer, obviously. So if you're going to run the spare parts, this is the one to run it on. So I'm running calibrated shells, supercharge, and vertical stabilizer from Combat Power. I run protected modules, enhanced armor because the armor on this is already good, and toolbox to plus 25% module repair. I run optics and I run engine accelerator. I don't think you need to run any. Oh, look at that shot. I mean, it's instant. You don't have any lag time between hitting the button and the shell getting to them, which is huge, just huge. I'm stopping to have a chat to people. JT, a Ryu 900 MG. Good on you, mate. Good to talk. I love having chat back and being able to talk to the humans. It's great. And then finally, I run high-end consumables. Engine accelerator is, oh, look at the gun. The gun is so good. Your armor's so good. You do 72 kilometers an hour really, really quickly. You've got crazy amounts of traverse. I mean, oh, wow, wow. It's so good. And it earns money. And your view range is good. And your armor is good. And get the bloody tank. Would you just get the tank? I'm going to die here at the end because this KV1 is left, so I'm going to give him a chance. Like, we've got this one coming and going. So, you know, who cares? This is a tank worth grinding for. It is a tank worth getting, and it is a tank worth spending your spare parts on. Make no mistake about it. If you are a good player, you'd already know about this tank. If you're a person that is picking the game up and learning it, and you want to play with a vehicle that can really do the business, this is that vehicle. This is that vehicle. I'm Bushcon Blitz. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope I didn't carry on too much about it, but this is my favorite tank nearly in the whole world. So I like it a lot, and you should like it too. Until next time, look after yourselves and stay safe on the battlefield.